Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Waffle on the channel. And as to kick us off, let's dive in to see how I got on in what potentially could have been, should have been, for many people was an exciting game week 34 double. Now, I didn't do awfully, but my team didn't deliver quite as much as I was hoping. I didn't get to 100 points, and that's with a -8 taken into account. So that's what 89 points on the board, which for a double, big double game week, with a lot of people around me getting into the hundreds, uh, was a bit painful. Partly because Edison did the classic 1 pointer and then benched. We then had Trent that delivered nicely, was obviously happy with that. But Robertson got benched in his clean sheet game. So the two players there, Robbo and Edison, both benched in their clean sheet match. Trippier against Southampton didn't do what he could have done. March benched. Matoma benched and missed a sitter at the start of the United game. March inches wide later in the game. Salah captaincy was probably one of the best things I was grateful for, who outscored Haaland, albeit by only a couple of points, but it's a win nonetheless. Rashford, everyone has him, didn't really mean too much, however, he did, to be honest. Greenish with the assist, we take it. Haaland with the vice again, you know, Salah beat him, not much to talk about, everyone has Haaland. This was the other win. Dom Solanke at home to Leeds, scored the goal, 2 bonus points, came in with 8 overall. I was very chuffed with that. And then the bench, I made decent calls. Botman with the assist. You're not going to call that over Trippier, really, are you? Zuma injured. I was relieved I didn't play my West Ham boys as Bowen blanked and Zuma. Zuma got injured and blanked, so I was pleased I made transfers to get rid of them. And all in all, yeah, it was decent, but it could have been more. Like McAllister was the one out of the three Brighton players to have got the classic template of Brighton and having a Brighton and United defender in Estupiñán or Steele and Luke Shaw. They all came in with returns, and my Robertson as a slightly different pick. Yeah, lost me a lot of ground really on that one. So disappointed in that regard. But looking ahead to the future game weeks, um, so you kind of need to be looking at the fixtures again really coming up because we've got Brighton and Newcastle doubling next week, so you do need to have half an eye on that if you haven't already. Tripling up on Brighton is essential at this stage still, and I think at least double Newcastle, ideally triple if you can. Looks good for that. So start thinking about that this week. I think a lot of people are rolling the transfer this week because it's a slightly quieter game week. Um, so they can have two transfers to get sorted with the Brighton, Newcastle if they haven't already, or they can start looking ahead to another decent double in 37. So here's this kind of order of fixtures. So City are the top of the tree, best team in the league, and have the best fixtures in terms of team ability to fixture rating. So you've got to be trying to triple up on them if you can. However, it's so hard to predict who's going to line up for them. You obviously got Haaland, but then Edison's doing awful, and he was benched the other week. And then Grealish is the other one that seems the most nailed. You're not really going to want Rodri in your fantasy team. And then Diaz is a bit boring, but probably safe if you want a defender. For Liverpool, I think, because if you haven't got on them now with the double game week gone, although they've got good fixtures, you don't want to be probably desperate to get them in. But if you don't have Trent and Salah already, then it's still probably worth a transfer to get them into the running. Outside of that, they're probably not worth a punt with the rotation risks. Chelsea third. Now we're going to talk about Chelsea in a minute in relation to my transfer plans, but yeah, I've got an interesting idea with that, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And then after that, I don't think there's any desperate need to look at these other teams. Like I said, Brighton, Newcastle, you need to get on, at least for their doubles, and then who's the other one? United have a nice double in 37, so you could get on them now if you haven't already with Fernandez, Shaw, West Ham, Wolves, great fixtures, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Fulham. It's a really good running. So they're a definite team to target if you're not doubled up, tripled up on them. And beyond that, yeah, I don't think there's too much to report. Like Arsenal, you can probably live without now, unless you wanted to jump on them at the end of the season. if they're still saying the title race. But they could be differential picks at this stage with everyone jumping off them for double game weekends. So they might not be the worst shout in the world. Although defensively they're conceding goals. Both Gabriel and Saliba currently out. So yeah, I'm not full of confidence for their sort of clean sheet potential. Tottenham, if you wanted a punt, they're looking all over the place at the moment, but attackingly, a Heung-min Son or a Kane could be a nice differential for you with this run in. So that's another team to consider, I think. In terms of, this is just another look at the fixture ticker on the website, on the Fantasy Football website, which you might find easier to look at if you can't be bothered to look at someone on Twitter. Linked to my Chelsea idea, let's look at my team selection for this week. So, because their fixtures away to Bournemouth, home to Forest, and then they've got a double, although it's a horrific double. I don't know. I think I'm mad, but because I'm chasing and I've dropped now down to 800 something K, I'd love to get back to 500K where I was a few weeks ago. I kind of just want to take some fun punts. No one, rightly so, is going near Chelsea. So this is what I've done this week. I've taken a -4 and I've done Havertz in for Watkins. Here's the logic, right? And then for the -4, I've done who did I do? Zuma up to Dunk, but I've just able to afford it. Here's the logic. Hear me out. Watkins away to Wolves. Wolves traditionally are very solid at home, although they just got smashed by us as Brighton. You'd think they would step it up for their home fixture. Do you think they'd want to turn it around? Watkins has blanked the last couple, so he's not quite as full of form as he was. I'm hopeful Wolves shut him out, basically. And looking on paper, I thought I could see Wolves shutting him out. And my other player was Trippier, home to Arsenal. I'd expect Arsenal to score in that game, wiping the cleaner. Trippier hasn't got many returns lately. So on paper, I was thinking I could very easily see Trippier and Watkins getting 2 points each. On the flip side, it wouldn't surprise me if Watkins decided to smash Wolves and Trippier decided to turn up against Arsenal because we know Newcastle can keep clean sheets at St James's no matter who they're playing. But I'm taking the punt that, maybe what I'm expecting is Arsenal score, Wolves make it difficult for Villa. Home to Everton's about as good as it gets for a defender. So I've got obviously doubles coming up as well for Brighton. So I thought, let's get back on Dunk. Nailed. He's going to play every game between now and the end of the season, providing he stays fit. Hopefully he can pay back my hit straight away with a clean sheet. That's the dream. Worst case, if he concedes, he's got doubles coming up. So hopefully he'll pay off over time. Havertz, it's just a punt, right? Away to Bournemouth, home to Forest, and a double. He's just back fit. He's on pens. I know Chelsea have been absolutely diabolical, and I'm not expecting miracles, but they've still got good, top quality players in their side. And I'm expecting them to still knock in a couple of goals in these next 4 games, right? And Havertz is going to be one of the ones you'd most expect to knock in one of those goals, or 2 of those goals, or maybe even 3 if I'm lucky, for those fixtures. So it's sort of like a fun / crazy punt, but no one's going to have him. And it's a nice 3 game weeks to just have a go, right? So I'm going to do it. It'll be fun if he gets a goal, it's going to be the best thing ever because no one else is going to have him. And I have a hope that he might do something for me, even if he gets like 1 return, 2 returns over the next 4. I could see that happening, and that wouldn't be awful. If I get lucky, Chelsea put in a couple of big performances to try and prove everyone wrong and end the season well, and I'm laughing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a bit of an experiment, but we'll see. And then I guess to finish off before we take too long on the video, again, have a look at a transfer planner like FPL.team just to sort of half have an idea of what you're going to do between now and the end of the season. Next week, I'll have triple Brighton lined up for the double, and I'll have double Newcastle in place. Sorry, that's the game week we should be looking at. So I'll have 1 free transfer, and I can get my triple up on Newcastle. And at the moment, I can either do, say, Robertson out to Shah and just be brave and go triple Newcastle defence, which at the start of the season would be amazing. And away to Leeds with Allardyce, a different Leeds, home to Brighton. I could see them getting 2 clean sheets on their day with that. That'd be a wonderful differential. Shah's attacking as well. If I didn't want to do that, and we just stick Robbo back in. I could do something like for a hit again, but at this stage of the season, I just want to have fun, to be honest, and hope, take some chances really that the point, the hits could pay off if I get lucky. Um, but they're sort of semi-calculated, right? I could do Isak in for Solanke, and to fund that, I could do Robbo down to someone like Luke Shaw, who I'm going to want for the game week 37 double. And then I've got a team looking like that. And then I can, potentially have Shaw on the bench and save him for the last 3 game weeks. Very strong bench, but and there's the Havertz again, the Havertz punt to try and get a return. And I'll probably captain Isak. If I don't do the Isak move and bring in Shah, I'll just captain Trippier and hope that he comes good again, like we had seen him doing all for the first half of the season. Um, and then I'll have a very nice team for the 37 double. Um, with just a load of doublers. And my only players that aren't doublers, as you can see, will be Trent and Salah, who are two of the players at the moment you're quite happy having in a single game week at Anfield. And then I might have some fun at the end of the season, maybe take another hit or something, try and get to perhaps Kane against Leeds, or maybe some of the Arsenal boys at home to Wolves, etc. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, and I'll talk about it in future episodes. But for now, this is how my team's looking for game week 30, 35. I'm very happy with every player on paper. I'm hopeful that these defenders could get me some points, and goalkeeper, lovely fixtures all round, home fixtures. Same for my mids. All home fixtures other than Rashford, but it's Rashford. He was looking on fire against Brighton. I know he didn't score, but I was really seeing this lad is becoming a world class talent. So he can score against anyone. And then Haaland home to Leeds, providing he starts. I might look out for late team news to see who to captain. I might switch it to Salah if we hear he's benched. And if you've got a transfer and have a City slot and you hear Alvarez is starting or Mahrez is starting or Foden is starting, you might be worth just a punt on them this week at home to Leeds. It's a great fixture. So maybe look out for some early team news if you wanted to have a punt on someone from City, and also to inform your captain choice. Because you might want to put the armband on an Alvarez if Haaland's benched, and that could be quite a nice differential. So, otherwise, if Haaland's starting, happy days, captain against Leeds, vice on Salah. And there's my Havertz coming in away for Bournemouth. Nice fixture, differential. A lot of people will be saying Solanke's probably more likely to return than Havertz the way he's playing. And you're probably right. But I want to try something different to end the season to try and gain some rank. So let's have some fun, see what happens. And worst case, if some of these City boys are rested before their Champions League match, which Lego Mane's nicely shown here, West Ham and City with the remaining sort of European football to be aware of rotation in. And I've got a Trippier, a Solanke to come in, and quite happy with that. So that's the team. That's how it's looking. Hoping for a green arrow this week to take me back towards the 500k mark, but we'll wait and see. Hope you have a good game week yourselves, and I will look forward to catching you on the next one, hopefully with some good news to share and a Havertz hat trick to rejoice in a crazy good differential. Not so hopeful, but you never know. Miracles do happen. Catch you on the next one.